Okay, let's unpack this. You see it everywhere, right? Healing and self-love presented like this perfect filter-enhanced glow-up.
Mm-hmm.
One day you're struggling, the next you're suddenly serene, maybe with great lighting.
Yeah, the highlight reel version.
Exactly. But we know life and growth. Well, it isn't always that clean, is it?
Not all.
What about the raw, messy, unphotogenic reality of actually doing the work?
Well, what's fascinating here is precisely that contrast. We've got some really powerful excerpts from a source called The Raw Truth of Healing and Self-Love.
Okay.
And it doesn't pull any punches. It gets right into that messiness.
And our mission with this deep dive, sort of cut through the gloss, and extract the surprising, often silent insights this source offers about the actual journey.
Right. It's really about understanding the value in sitting with the discomfort.
Not just pretending it doesn't exist on the way to the after photo.
Exactly. The source gets right to the heart of it, insisting that healing is fundamentally messy.
Yeah.
It's not something you can curate.
No, definitely not. It talks about the unglamorous moments, the kind you experience alone, maybe crying on your bedroom floor at 2 a.m.
Or that awkward silence in therapy when you feel completely vulnerable and just don't have the words.
Yeah.
It's confronting the difficult, heavy emotions, the guilt, the rage, the really painful process of truly letting go.
Right. It's definitely not a Pinterest board, as the source bluntly puts it.
Not at all.
And it goes deeper than just feeling bad, right? It describes healing as like grieving versions of yourself you've outgrown.
And facing your pain head on instead of running.
And there's that really moving image it uses, standing in front of the mirror, looking yourself in the eye and whispering, "I forgive you."
Wow.
Yeah, it just highlights that intensely personal, internal battle.
And acknowledging this mess isn't just about being negative, right? It's crucial because, as the source argues, if you deny the difficulty, you kind of miss the real transformative work happening underneath.
So the struggle isn't a sign you're failing.
No, not according to this. It's often a sign you're deeply engaged in the process. It's where the growth is actually happening.
Okay. Building on that idea of the raw reality, the source brings up another often silent part of this journey, and that's the surprising loneliness that can come with growth.
Yeah, that one hits home for a lot of people, I think.
It feels counterintuitive, doesn't it? Like, growth should mean expanding your world, but sometimes...
It means contracting it, at least for a while. And the source explains why this happens. As you start prioritizing your peace, maybe saying no more often.
Stopping engagement with people or situations that drain you.
Exactly. Your social landscape will change. The source describes your phone feeling dry, weekends getting quiet, your circle shrinking.
And it notes that in the moment, this can feel exactly like punishment, like you're being isolated because you're trying to get better.
But this is where the source offers that crucial reframe. It insists this quiet isn't punishment. It's space.
Okay, space. What kind of space are we talking about? What does the source suggest you're creating?
Well, space for healthier habits, for one.
Yeah.
Maybe space for better people to eventually enter your life. And importantly, space for clarity.
Clarity.
Yeah. If we connect this to the bigger picture, this period of solitude is presented as having a kind of essential magic, is the quiet needed to finally hear yourself again.
Ah, okay.
It teaches you that your own voice, your own presence is actually enough. You learn you don't need all that external noise or constant attention to validate your existence.
That's a really powerful idea. So instead of feeling like you're somehow falling behind because you're healing and things are quiet,
Right.
the source flips it completely, suggesting you're actually catching up with the person you were always meant to be.
Exactly. The solitude isn't a deficit. It's presented as the necessary internal environment for that authentic self-connection. It's where you gather yourself.
Before maybe re-engaging with the world on healthier terms.
Precisely.
Okay, now let's talk about self-love. Because the source takes a very firm stance here, pushing back hard against the, the softer portrayals we often see.
It really does.
It says it's not always bubble baths and affirmations.
Challenges that gentle image quite significantly. The examples it gives for what self-love is. They're much more about difficult actions. Discipline, almost.
Like what?
Like deleting that number you know isn't good for you, even when it hurts like hell. That's an act of self-love, according to this.
Or saying no to something you feel obligated to do, and then just sitting with that awful, uncomfortable feeling of guilt that follows.
Yes. Choosing your well-being over people-pleasing in that moment. That's the work.
And here's where it gets really interesting and practical. It includes the simple, often inconvenient stuff, like waking up early when you don't want to, drinking water, dragging yourself to the gym.
Things that don't feel loving in the moment necessarily.
Right. The core message is clear, maybe a bit uncomfortable. Self-love is work.
Hard work. It frames it as showing up for yourself with the same commitment and care you would show to someone you deeply, genuinely love.
So it's not always about feeling good while you're doing it.
No, but doing what's necessary for your long-term well-being. That's the focus.
So it's choosing yourself over and over and over again. And the source stresses this is most critical precisely when it's hardest.
Yeah, when you're scared, when people around you don't get it, especially in those moments.
This raises an important question then. If self-love isn't just a feeling, but an action, an ongoing practice, how does that redefine your relationship with yourself?
It makes it active, right? Not passive. It's not a destination you arrive at. It's the daily showing up. That perspective shift from feeling to action is so key.
Yeah.
And the source also directly tackles another common feeling that can really derail us. This idea that healing should be like a smooth upward line.
Oh, yeah, the linearity myth.
Exactly. It speaks directly to feeling weak for crying over past things you thought were done, or feeling broken because some days are just still incredibly heavy.
It validates those moments by stating clearly that healing is absolutely not a straight road.
No. It describes it as looping back, twisting in unexpected directions. And sometimes, yeah, frustratingly, dropping you right back in a place you thought you'd left behind.
Which can feel like such a failure in the moment.
Totally. But the crucial point the source makes is this. Every single time you return to that difficult place, you are fundamentally different. You don't arise back there as the same person.
Okay, how are you different? What does the source say you come back with?
More awareness, maybe. More strength, perhaps learned from the last time. And crucially, more softness. More compassion for yourself in the struggle.
Ah, the self-compassion piece.
Yes. So the definition of growth here isn't getting over it and leaving it behind forever. It's simply keeping going.
That's it. Just keep going.
That act of persistence, of putting one foot in front of the other, even when you're back in that familiar, difficult territory, that is the win. That is the true growth the source highlights.
So it's really okay if your journey looks like 2 steps forward, 1 step back, maybe even 3 steps back sometimes.
Absolutely. Okay. The validation here is powerful. Be patient with yourself and find genuine pride in how far you've come, even if the progress isn't, neat or linear or visible to others.
That's huge.
Returning to past feelings or struggles isn't failure. It's encountering them with new tools and perspective. That is progress, just maybe not the kind we usually measure.
Right. Okay, so if navigating all this raw, messy, non-linear work feels, well, overwhelming,
Which it often does.
the source wisely shifts gears. It offers some practical, small steps you can take right now to reconnect with yourself, especially if you feel lost or disconnected.
Yes, it brings it back down to earth. Simple, accessible actions like start journaling.
But not to fix anything.
No, just to create a space to hear your own thoughts again, to listen.
Okay.
Or dedicate just 10 minutes each day, literally just 10 minutes to be with your thoughts. No phone, no TV, no distractions, just sit.
Easier said than done sometimes, but simple.
Simple, not necessarily easy. It also suggests tapping into your inner child,
How so?
revisiting things that genuinely made you feel alive as a kid. It mentions things like painting, dancing, storytelling, whatever it was for you.
Kind of rediscovering joy.
Exactly. And a really key one, tuning into your body, actually listening to it. Not the external voices, not the shoulds, not expectations, just what is your physical self telling you it needs?
That takes practice.
It does. But the core principle uniting these steps is that self-connection isn't about achieving perfection. It's about cultivating honesty.
Honesty with yourself.
Yes, it encourages you to ask yourself a very specific, critical question. What do you need right now? Really need?
Not what you think you should need.
Or what others expect you to need? Just what do you need in this very moment?
And the advice is simple. Start there.
Start there. Start small. Start soft.
Yeah.
It's about showing up for that honest need, not about getting it perfect.
That feels manageable.
And that final point on connection is vital. You don't have to be fixed or perfect to deserve your own love and connection. You just have to show up for yourself exactly as you are right now.
Tuning into that quiet, honest need that feels like the most profound starting point.
I think it is.
Okay, to wrap things up, the source offers some incredibly direct and validating messages of support. It almost feels like it's looking right at you, the listener, and saying, I'm proud of you.
Yeah, it's very affirming.
It reassures you you are not behind, you are not too sensitive, you are not too much, all those things we worry about.
And it frames healing not as some kind of chore or a sign of weakness, but as one of the bravest things a human can do.
That's powerful.
It is. And it offers that crucial reminder that you are absolutely not alone in this messy, quiet work. Millions of people are doing the same thing,
Silently healing, quietly choosing themselves.
slowly becoming someone they are genuinely proud of. And, according to the source, you're one of us.
That gives me chills a little bit. It even suggests a simple practice you can come back to.
A grounding technique.
Take a deep breath, place your hand over your heart, and actually say it out loud. I am allowed to heal at my own pace. I am allowed to feel everything deeply. I am proud of who I'm becoming.
Saying it out loud makes a difference. The bravery the source highlights lies in granting yourself that permission, validating your own timing, your own depth of feeling through those powerful words.
Yeah.
And it leaves you with this sense of shared journey. Like when it gets hard, you can return to this space, this understanding, knowing we're growing together.
So what does this all mean? I mean, this deep dive into the raw truth of healing and self-love, it's shown us that this journey is so far from that polished glow-up.
So far, it is raw, it's messy, it's incredibly nonlinear, and it demands real work and radical self-compassion.
Growth, then, in this context, isn't about reaching some magical point where pain just vanishes.
No, it seems to be much more about showing up for yourself consistently. Choosing yourself even in the quiet, difficult moments, even when you feel like you've slipped right back to square one.
It's a profoundly personal path, isn't it? But maybe made a little less isolating by knowing that millions are navigating their own version of this messy reality.
That shared humanity piece is important.
The insights from this source really challenge us to rethink our expectations of what healing should look like.
Definitely. And maybe leave you with this thought to consider. The profound strength found not necessarily in getting over pain in some final definitive way,
Right.
but in the courage it takes to return to that difficult place again and again perhaps, but each time with maybe a little more awareness, a little more compassion.
And choosing yourself anyway.
And choosing yourself anyway. What might shift in your own journey if you could fully embrace its nonlinear, messy nature and find the win simply in the act of keeping going?
Something to really sit with.
Absolutely.